Good morning, everyone. Jim Clark here at the Synchronicity Sanctuary in Central Virginia to welcome you to another contemplative focus that I want to share with you today. And that focus is the one that is all and everything lives inside of you. And with that focus, there are two contemplations that we should consider here. One is that God, Source, Consciousness by any name, dwells within you as you. And the second contemplation that follows from this is see the one that dwells in you in each other. The truth of who you are and what we all are is the same truth that all human beings embody. Recognize and acknowledge your eternal truth and see this same truth in everyone you meet. So that's the contemplation and the challenge that was presented to us many years ago by our teacher, Master Charles Cannon. And it was a struggle in the beginning because I had not fully embodied consciously the truth of who I am. This takes time, and it takes a very dedicated focus to meditation and holistic lifestyle to develop the balance and the consequent power before you palpably realize that truth. So the consciousness that you are reverberates at a certain frequency, and the illusion of who you are, the body and the mind and so forth, reverberate at a different set of frequencies. So as you meditate and gain balance, your power goes up accordingly, and as your power increases, then the subtle dimension of who you truly are begins to open up in your awareness. And that does so as a presence, as a reverberating presence of who you are and what life is. And that same presence is what is inside of every human being on the planet. And yet, when you don't have that awareness, when it's not a constant in your experience, it's very difficult. In fact, it's kind of impossible for you to see that in anybody else because you can't see it in yourself yet. So, first contemplation, the one that is all and everything lives inside of you, is kind of like the baseline for the following contemplation that we have in this particular edition. And it really follows from another truth that my teacher shared with us many times. He said, true joy, the ultimate joy is in the people, which means that you take your truth and you see that truth in everyone you meet. You include everything that is in your world as the same consciousness that you are. And as that grows in your awareness, as you welcome that recognition into your own being, then your own bliss grows and grows and grows. And the ones that you include in that somehow are empowered by that. So this is how it all really works. The one that is all and everything in the play of illusion in the creation game, once it evolves to the point of self-awareness where it knows that it is who it is and what it has always been, then it must include that while being in an embodied human form. It must include all the other human forms and all the unhuman forms that are around in this particular creation. Never mind all the madness and stuff that we see as a daily projection of unawareness that we see in the media and so forth, the things that they ascribe and think that are very important. What's really important is the truth of who you are and your own awareness, and living from that, and not just thinking that you want to live from that. It's not an ideal. It's not something that you want to believe. It's something that you actually bring into your own experience. And the more you share that truth from inside yourself with those who you meet and interact with, the more that that grows in you as well and empowers the people that you meet and interact with. You know, I know from my own experience, whenever I'm out of the sanctuary or within the sanctuary and I interact from that perspective, from that experience that I have within myself, that the more there is just this automatic kind of a unity there. And that unity seems to be something that the people that I interact with pick up on. And they kind of acknowledge it in some ways, but around here it's so common that we're very used to that. But when you're in town, when I'm in town, say I'm doing errands and I'm going into stores to buy things for the sanctuary and I interact with a checkout person, one thing I also notice there is that as I remain focused in my own state of being, that presence seems to carry over to them as well, and they become somewhat more relaxed and they seem to have a more positive attitude as I interact with them. So it reflects back. In other words, what you put out, you get. What you focus upon, you become. So in that process, that also includes other individuated sources of consciousness that you're interacting with. Because even though you're vibrating at one level and they're vibrating at another, there's a proximity there, and the interaction is a form of empowerment, and that you help those around you uplift and have some measure of experience that is pointing towards their truth, even though they may not know that at the time. So as you interact with people and yourself, and you focus upon that intention to include and evolve yourself with all forms of life that you see around you and all forms of what we call non-living as well. You know, the mountains, the animals, the birds, and so forth. In my environment, I include as consciousness as well. They're all part of the same show, and they're all here to fulfill some reason. It's like nature itself is an embodiment of Source, and such an intricate and complicated organism all by itself. All forms of life have a purpose, and they all interact, fulfilling some need that serves nature. So just as we human beings, if we come from our truth, we serve our nature, we serve our truth, and in doing that, we also serve the truth that is embodied by all human beings in our world. And this is part of the positive polarity focus, and it's how it may impact those in your world and add to the positive polarity dominance that's possible in this world. We don't see it right now, but eventually that is what's happening. As we evolve, so does the world. Consciousness is here to evolve itself to the recognition of itself and to the fulfillment of its primary intention to fully be itself. And it only can do that in the relative field of experience, where there is a negative and a positive, there is unconscious and conscious, and so forth and so on. And yet, no matter where anybody is in that process, the ultimate truth is the ultimate truth, and that's something that is true for everyone and everything that's in manifestation. So irregardless of how we may have been enculturated, how we have learned to see different aspects of the creation game in our world, the truth is it's all Source. And there's nothing more to be said about that. There's just a lot to be recognized and experienced in yourself for your own fulfillment. And in that, you're adding to the fulfillment of consciousness itself in this creation game. So we're destined to discover ourselves, to experience the truth of ourselves, and to share that truth, and to include that truth. And that's basically what we're all here doing. But if you look at the media, it doesn't seem to recognize much of that, right? But then that's part of the play. That's the play of unconscious existence in this world today. And my own experience is enjoy the show. It's always been like this. The world has always existed in a polarized field of experience, and by its very nature, to have an experience rather, within such a field of experience, there's got to be a negative, there's got to be a positive, there has to be some amount of unconscious representation and some that are conscious. And in that, there's a balance. And in that balance, the game goes on. So even though we may see things or hear things that sound like doomsday or big problems and things are degenerating, falling apart, there's also things that are being born. There are things that are emerging out of all this process. And that's something that we don't see in the media. We don't readily see that. We can't see the future, is what I'm trying to say. So, but if you know yourself and you know your truth, if you experience your truth, you know that no matter what happens, your truth will live on forever. And so will the truth of everyone in your world. And as you include people and consciously interact with them from your own being, your state of being, anchored in the truth of who you are, that truth helps to empower everyone that's involved in the interactions with you. And so you're contributing that to the world, you're contributing that to those in your world, and you're also contributing that to yourself. You're giving yourself the gift of inclusion, the gift of recognition, and the joy that comes from that, which is the amplification of your own bliss. And so if you walk around in the world with that focus and that intention consciously, then you have much to gain and absolutely nothing to lose. So that is what I wanted to share with you this Monday morning, my first live stream here since our week-long program, which was just absolutely over the top, and that just amplified the truth of who we are to the point where we reach new levels of bliss and new levels of awareness. So this is what we're all about, and this is what we want to share with our world. So we are all about evolve and include. And what we do is we live from our state of being that we have created over years and years of practice and dedication to that focus. And in that, we are, just by our own existence, a contribution to the world and to the peace in the world. So that's what I wanted to share with you all today. And I hope that you recognize that in yourself and that you take that to heart and enjoy it to your fullest amount and realize that the truth of who you are can only grow in awareness and only grow in its own power and contribution to the world that you live in. So that's it for today. I'll be back again next Monday with another contemplation to share with you. In the meantime, evolve and include. Share the one that you truly are with all those in your world as equals, as a reflection of the truth that you are. So that's it for this Monday. I'll be back again next Monday at the same time, maybe the same time. And until then, I wish you well and thank you so much for watching today.